Brandon, well into the thick of pre-season training now. Are you feeling particularly sore, or are we good?
Yeah, no, good. It's been a good pre-season so far. Plenty of football, a fair amount of running, but not too much. It's been tough, but it's a lot of ball work, and the gaffer's really keen to get 11v11s and match play and use that as our fitness. So it's been a good pre-season so far.
And a good way, I would guess, to get to know the makeup of the squad for the new season. Even the players that were here last year coming back in, there's obviously going to be a different dynamic, isn't there? So it gets you used to that.
Yeah, definitely. It feels different with new staff, a few new players, but we've gotten to grips with it, and yeah, it's playing that in that 11v11 format. It's good to kind of see people's positions, some of the new lads, and getting used to everyone. Yeah.
I've been talking to some of the players, and they've been very impressed, obviously, with the way the new manager's approaching things. I guess now starting to approach that time of pre-season where his thoughts and ideas and philosophies are being transferred over to you now. What are you making of that process?
Yeah, it's always nice to get different coaches' sort of perspectives and ideas. Everyone comes in with different thoughts, so it's we're only a week or so, just over a week in, so that's starting to creep into the training now and bringing the sort of tactical aspects to it. So yeah, it's going well. And
how does your pre-season work in terms of a goalkeeper? I mean, people back in the day would say that, goalkeepers perhaps not accustomed to as much of the running, but more recent years you would often see goalkeepers at the front of the queue, so to speak, in the runs. How do you fare?
Yeah, usually do okay. I think the way we like to play and the way I've played for the last few seasons, I'm quite heavily involved, so I need to be one of the up there with being the fittest in the team. So I try to do my best and involved in a lot of the running. So yeah.
And without using a goalkeeping cliche, I suppose it's a key time of year for getting your eye in, isn't it? Really, because you've had so long without the routine of training and match days that you need to get that sharpness back now.
Yeah, it's been tricky so far. We've not been able to do as much goalkeeping work as I'd like at the moment, but just sort of getting bits in as and when we can. And once the goalkeeping coach is in, we can do that. So play a little bit of catch up, but yeah, doing as much as we can for the time being. But like I said, heavily involved with the 11v11 play and getting my eye in that sort of way. So yeah.
And you're right, obviously, to mention Kev, obviously moving on, getting a great job with Forest Green. I know the goalkeeping situation here is close to being finalised, which is great, but pleased to see him progress.
Yeah, really pleased for Kev. He's a fantastic coach, and it was a great opportunity for him to move on in a slightly different role, which he's more than capable of doing. Kind of training with him last year, and he's a fantastic goalkeeping coach, but he's a great all-round coach. So the position that he's got at Forest Green at a league club is a fantastic move for him. So I'm really pleased for him.
And in terms of that goalkeeping coach, obviously, hopefully we'll have news on soon enough. It's an important one for the likes of yourself and Tom Palmer, in that you spend so much time together in quite an intensive sort of training environment.
Yeah, a goalkeeping coach is very much needed at whatever level, and having someone to come in to help me in Palms and even Ewan when he's training with us is really, really important, and something that we need for the season.
You mentioned Ewan. It's interesting that obviously he's had his opportunities in terms of training with the first team, and his academy football's really coming on. What's it like for you in terms of having those bodies around the group, as it is throughout the rest of the pitch? Really, defenders, midfielders, that young group gets a presence in with the first team. That's important, isn't it?
Yeah, really important. You always need at least sort of 3 keepers in training, and it's always handy, and Ewan's more than steps up. He's more than capable of training with us, and he's progressing really, really well. It's nice to see the young lads come through, and you can look back a few years to when you were in that position and try and use what you were taught to kind of to help them out. So no, it's really good. Ewan's doing fantastically well, and he'll definitely be improving as the season goes on.
The country's gripped by a World Cup fever. Are you any exception, or were you biting your nails in midweek?
Yeah, biting my nails as well. It's a bit of an edgy game, and I'm pleased to see Pickford make the headlines, and played very, very well, making one incredible save during the game and then doing really well on the penalties.
And often in that situation, goalkeeper only makes the headlines if they're negative headlines. But you know, that kind of starring role that he had, not only the penalty shootout, but obviously that key save right towards the end part of the game. It's right, he gets those plaudits, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always nice to see. It's always great to see, and kind of playing his sort of rise to fame at a fairly young age is really sort of nice to see from my point of view. Being similar sort of ages, and it's nice to see someone sort of progress and get to that level at that age. And yeah, he did incredibly well the other night.
And it's perhaps a little bit cheesy to say, you know, that's an inspiration, you know, to his fellow players. But in terms of having played here at Agra for Darlington at this level, sort of non-league level, it must give players that thing to sort of say, well, even if you're a late bloomer, I guess, into the professional game, as some players are, there's always that opportunity to rise, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a good sort of motivation to have, and you know, you're always looking to be as good as you can be. I want to play as high as I can. It's very ambitious to think of maybe that level, but you know, you want to try and make it as high as you can. And for me, you know, football league's the sort of aim, and hopefully that's with Kidderminster.